Hello, and welcome to Decorating Pages. I am your host, Kim Wannop. Welcome. I hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend. Hope you got some good rest in there. I have always thought that we should have a 3-day weekend every month, at least, because it's only like 5 weeks until July 4th. Awesome. Then there's a long stretch till Labor Day. And then there's a pretty long stretch till Thanksgiving, which I think sometimes you get Columbus Day off or Veterans Day or none. Maybe it's none. But I think every month you should get at least one 3-day weekend, but still get paid and still get our hours for our healthcare. How about that? How about someone just gives us those hours? I always find it amazing. I'm in a huge fight with MPI right now, but I always find it amazing that you can work sometimes throughout the years, and yet, 7-9 months later, you have no health care. I feel like, because at a certain point it stops building up, is what I feel like. You can only accumulate so many hours to go on. It should just keep going on, right? I mean, I work those hours. It's like that joke from Chris Rock, like you buy insurance in case shit happens. But if shit doesn't happen, can I have my money back? You work all these hours. It should accumulate as many hours as you keep going. It shouldn't stop. You bank it up. And plenty of people are looking for healthcare hours, and so that would help them. I don't know. But I'm not smart enough to get into that. I'm smart enough to get into this episode, though, about hacks. It's FYC for hacks for SDSA and Emmy consideration with production designer Rob Tokarz and set decorator Jennifer Lukehart for their season 4 work. So we're going to dive into that in a little bit. I wanted to give a little eulogy, little homage to art director, production designer Les Dilly. I hope I'm saying his name right, as usual. But he died on May 20th, 2025 at the age of 84. He was Welsh. He was an art director and production designer, and he really worked on some of my favorite films. So I just am in awe of his career that spanned over 6 decades. He contributed to an art director on Star Wars: A New Hope, Raiders of the Lost Ark. It earned him 2 Academy Awards, and he received additional nominations for his work on Alien, Empire Strikes Back, and The Abyss. So then after being an art director on these huge films, he was a production designer on films that I love, like What About Bob and The Abyss. And that just shows the versatility across the genres of how, most of us are able to just dive into a comedy and then a sci-fi. Like, how great is this career? But his innovative designs really left a mark on the film industry and myself. So when I just wanted to share that he died. It's a sin. So what a master for looking up his work, and I don't know. I was inspired by his work, so I just want to give him a shout out. Let's see, what is Wannop watching? Well, not much, because I'm all into my FYC. Right now I'm watching Dexter and Matlock, because I'm going to be talking to those creatives in the coming weeks. And I did watch The Star. It's a 1952 Bette Davis film about a washed up star trying to get her career back. I mean, it's basically like Baby Jane. I find in Bette Davis's films, if she does the same character, like I feel like there was Sudden Fear, I think it was, or she plays twins. Like, she plays twins in 2 different movies. It's kind of the same movie. Like, she did a lot of repeat business, but she's great. But it's weird. But it just, if anybody's looking for a 1952 behind the scenes of Hollywood, they go on soundstages, and the homes and the houses are really good. And then the other night, out of sitting down to put something on, and it takes me 20 friggin' minutes to figure out what I want to watch. And I have Amazon Fire, which I think is very slow, even though I feel like I've updated it twice and I'm still out of room. Um, it takes so long to figure out what I want to watch that I just threw Blade Runner on. And I was like, fuck it, I'll just watch Blade Runner again because it's and I have to say I barely watched it, but I did think with this, which I can't even remember what book I just read about. I think it was the editor one. That how much Harrison Ford hated doing the voiceover for the film. Um, or no, it was the one about all the sci-fi movies that came out in 1982. It's that book. I can't remember the name. Um, but how much he hated to do the voiceover and didn't want to do it, and something like it wasn't in his contract, and they made him come back and do it, and yeah, and you can tell by listening to his voice, he hates it. Like he really hates doing it. So, yeah. Um, yeah. So it's called The Future Is Now by Chris Nashawati. The Future Is Now. The films that came out in 1982 and how influential they were. I've talked about it before. It's a really good book, but I believe that story is in it. So yeah, that's what I've been watching this week. I'd also like to say Blade Runner production designer Larry Paul and set decorators Linda Descana, who I have been obsessed with for years. Rest in peace, Leslie Frankenheimer and Tom Royson are credited for that. So there was no credits for production designer or set decorator on The Star with Betty Davis. I looked it up. I couldn't find it. There was like a scenic, but I don't know. The other thing I want to give a shout out to is Philly Justice, which I think made a little bit of a splash last week in the news. If anyone's like listening to Good Hang with Amy Poehler, which is a really good podcast, because he's just sitting down shooting the shit with friends. It's fun. And so they got on the subject of this, like, they kind of like a pilot or like a trailer that they shot while we were working on Parks and Recreation in 2012. And it was just the actors hanging around and sort of making up this fake show and their fake characters. And so, really because of Mike Schur going along with it and the executive producer, Morgan Sackett, really going along with it. And I think Amy reads his email when he really gets into it, which is hilarious. But we shot all of these things while we were doing Parks and Rec. And we took the city chambers and made them into a regular courtroom. And we had a modern office that Ben Wyatt had moved to DC, I think, to work in. And so we we changed that over because the fake show, was set in the, I think, late 90s or something. So we had to date it, but it's still modern. But we did all of that, and Ian Phillips was a designer, I was a decorator, and I'm pretty sure it was like, oh, we're not in the city chambers for 2 days, let's change it over and change it back. Let's, like, there was no prep time, there was no budget for this, we just did it because I'm telling you, when I say working on Parks and Rec was like being in on the joke, or like being a part of, like, this is funny, I want to do it. I don't care what it is. It's really hard. It's hard, but like I want to do it. It was hard then, and then I've had much harder shows. So it was hard then. But damn, it was fun. It was really a fun show to work on. So always proud of that. So I put out a little video if anybody wants to see the transitions from our Parks and Rec sets to the Philly Justice sets. It's on the TikTok, Decorating Pages TikTok, and also the YouTube channel, Decorating Pages. So if you want to see that little video, it's like a minute long. Check it out. All right, let's get to this awesome episode with production designer Rob Tokarz, who worked on Parks and Rec, and set decorator Jennifer Lukehart. And we break down the luxe late 9 stage build for season 4 of Hacks. Deborah Vance's ever-changing interiors and detailed design challenges that brought Vegas and LA to life on the screen. They had a ton of sets this year, And Jennifer even talks about finding vintage toilet seats from Warner Brothers. And what else? We talk about building a pool on the soundstage. Like, there's a lot of insider stuff for this season 4. We did not talk about the finale because at the time of our interview, it had not aired yet. But it's good, huh? You like that finale? I would. I got opinions, but over the design and everything, and just really great season for them. So I hope you enjoy.
See each other at all the family reunions.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Which is great. It's a great bunch of people. It's great that what we have been working on keeps going. That's also really nice. So,
super great.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah. I know the last episode hasn't aired yet, so we can't talk about that one. But I've seen it. But it's been
I haven't.
it's it's such a good show because of the interaction of these people, and also like the behind the scenes of the like rich side of it. Like, she's so opulent, she has so much money, and you've been able to do so many things with her, and especially this season you've gotten so much attention about using these, important locations in Los Angeles, and being able to, give her character to the locations. How are you in selecting locations, and then how is it going into these?
Yeah. Well, when it comes to locations, we have just a fantastic location department. Kyle Suker and Danny Finn have just an amazing team that's able to really get out there and find things that are so unique in Los Angeles. So, they go out and they do the first thing. We talk about it, what we see, or we talk to Jen Paul and Lucia about what we think we need for that, if they have any ideas. And just like any show, it like kind of happens organically. You show them the first thing. Sometimes we're not sure exactly what it needs to be, so you do the first pass of location scouting, and it's like, is it this? Is it that? And sometimes it gets really specific. Like Winnie's house this year was kind of a beast to find because they wanted to look like the CEO of Converse has this brutalist mansion compound thing. And that was the reference. And there is not as much brutalism in Los Angeles as you'd think there would be.
There's
But there's not.
as someone who loves brutalist architecture, there's not.
There's like three.
So,
There's like
so we are just able to find some really great spots, and they work with the show.
What in this though, how much are you tweaking for the, I mean, I know, but like, how much are you tweaking for this? Like, a lot of times I feel like lately we're going in and we're given new floors. Like, new flooring to places is like a big thing now, I feel like. So how much of this is like, oh, that teal tile was, our thoughts, like that toilet, like what is
So, I mean, this
Well,
was
this
a
is a
build.
build.
This was a build on
Oh, this is a
stage.
build. Well, then why isn't House Beautiful as a location?
Because everyone gets confused.
Yeah, everyone gets blended together. So that was actually the tail of that set.
Well, then well, you
was
tricked
supposed to
me.
be.
Yeah.
That was based off of the location that we shot in Altadena that we lost in the fire. The original set was a 3-wall set that was done by our different team that started season 3 that we took over for after the second episode. And then this season, it came back and we had a chance to just embellish it. Sometimes when you do that 3-wall set, it comes together so fast that the details, you get lost a little bit in the details.
Right.
So we redid the windows, we put real tile into the bathroom, and we built the other walls of the set to make it a 360. I think we redid the beams. We just gave it a facelift. Gave it doors, sliding doors, added that archway, added the doors to the hallway, matched the hallway of the Altadena mansion, changed the windows out to make them feel like they were a little closer matched to the location.
I don't have a reverse on this. So then, Jen, where did you find the toilets and the bidet, the matching? I mean,
Warner Brothers basement.
Wow.
And it was funny because since the first time we went to LA or Deb's LA mansion, in season 2, it's always been, we thought it was a one-off, like, set that season. I had no idea we were gonna be back and be back and be back.
Right.
And every time we've gone by it, like Jill Carvalho, my assistant decorator, and I have just laughed and been like, oh my God, like, can we do Deb's LA bathroom? You know, and laughed to ourselves.
Right.
And then we got to Deb's LA bathroom.
You have to do it.
I mean, I'm still a little bummed that that whole article had this photo on here and it said a location, and I was like, oh, okay,
I know, I had noticed that too.
that's
Yeah.
typical. Well, see, I'm correcting here. This
That's
is a
right.
build. This
For
is
the
a
record,
build,
on the
people.
record now.
There you go.
Yeah, on not
Finally, we get a chance to speak out.
Yeah,
about
not a
this,
location.
situation.
A total build. And then this, I mean, color choices for her all season with Kathleen is the wardrobe, the costumer. It's such she's fantastic. And but you guys always play off of each other, which I always think is great, and make her pop and make the furniture pop with what she's wearing. How is that collaboration?
Yeah, what was really great this season is the first season that costumes wasn't somewhere else.
On our
So Kathleen,
floor.
Oh, that's
we
nice.
pass each other all
It
the
was
time.
great.
It was really great. It was really handy. It was really nice to see swatches. It was really fun to like get the sequin wall for the late night and be like, what's her opening wardrobe? How's
Right.
it going to work? So we really got to collaborate a lot deeper. And I think it showed this season, really. The costume feels so on point.
Yeah. It's always
The other overlap was that Deb's office at late night is Kathleen's office where she does fittings for all the actors. We just bring furniture, bring things in, and then back and forth. Yeah, so that's Kathleen's office.
Well, I mean, the whole like late night writers' offices I know is a location on Universal that Morgan loves to use. So I know I've used it on 3 different shows with him.
I
So.
saw your show.
Yeah, we all love that conference room.
This room is, and then we built their little bullpen.
Right.
That like,
Yeah, the writer's bullpen was something.
Well,
We
let's
just use that in the hallway.
So in taking this though, there's a lot because these offices don't look like this. So you guys did like it's a lot. It's like wallpaper and the carpet, and is that it's a bound rug and
yeah, so that was all. So we did the wallpaper, and the wallpaper has a glaze over top of it to kind of tie a little bit more into the lavender.
Yeah.
And then we rebuilt some of the wainscoting, had some weird gappy things going on with it, and a lot of all these late night offices that were part of stage 1. All of them have giant TVs or a lot of TVs on the walls to track what's going on stage. So we had to make right with all that stuff just architecturally.
I have a funny story. I don't know if I have to move myself over, but these chairs, Jen, and I do believe.
Wait, the lavender ones?
Yeah, the bookshelf, and I don't know if with the desk. I can't remember the desk. I bought those for, or you bought the same chairs.
Oh no, the chairs I rented at Universal.
Yeah. I gave them to, they're from Impeachment, and they were in Monica Lewinsky's apartment. And long story short, nobody consulted her that we redid her world instead of shabby chic because Ryan Murphy was like, no, we're not doing shabby chic. So we gave her that style. And when she walked into the set, she burst into tears. And so then I had 3 days to redo the
shabby chic
to shabby chic, but elegant shabby chic, which is what's on camera. So I think I eventually used them in a dressing room, but I never got to use all of it.
They're beautiful.
And I loved them. And so when I saw them, I was like, oh, thank God they've been seen. Thank God I see them. I love those chairs. They're beautiful. And I love her in the lavender and like the softness that you guys, give to her room. And the blonde hair plays off of her skin tone. Everything she looks so great against it all.
We do have a palette that we use for both of them where we know that they pop off and they look really nice. The big rule was no yellow. Yellow's a color we tend to avoid when it comes to finishes. But this was a lot of this color. We wanted to treat it as her private world. So you see it here, you see it in her touch-up room. And then when she comes out on stage, now we see just the last bit of pink, and behind the curtain is her world.
Right.
So that smoky pink, it's all intended to tie those parts together.
Let's talk about your big your big one here. What is your I mean, there's a lot of late night out there to draw from, but what is what is your
But
inspiration?
it's all manly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. This is more feminine.
Wood.
It does
Yeah.
read more feminine, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great detail.
So we wanted it to be just kind of a monument to late night. You needed to feel like this is her goal, this is where she wanted to be, this is her lifelong dream. So one of the big things is she's moving to Los Angeles to do it. So we wanted it to be a love song to Los Angeles. So I looked at the Griffith Observatory for some of the finishes in the columns. We looked at the Eastern Building for the vibe behind the band. In the cutouts, wanted to show the journey from Las Vegas to LA. So if you read from right to left, you're in Vegas, and then it becomes Los Angeles on the left. The star drop behind her is a nod to season one, her when she was at the Palmetto. The star drop she had behind her there. With the floors, there are a chevron floor that's in her mansion that we did in the tour bus in season two. The scroll work inside the columns was because I was passing at Tiffany's when I was trying to design the set. It was the Tiffany's on Colorado and Pasadena has a very similar scroll work that I ripped off.
In here.
Yes.
You paid homage, sir.
Paid homage. And then I don't remember exactly how it was a collaboration with Bricker, but he had the idea, or we had the idea for the marquee lights underneath the header, which we were shooting in Vegas that week when we were designing the set. And so I just took pictures of references of Fremont Street and Circus and sent them to set designers to try to figure out how we're going to cram hundreds of marquee bulbs. And one of my favorite little nods is you can't really see it. You can see it a little bit behind the lights in this picture, but there are these deco arches above the header. When Johnny Carson moved from New York to Burbank, this 1972 set had a very similar arch design that we homaged as well. So there's all little bits and pieces.
It's hard to take bits and pieces and make them cohesive. So I applaud you for that, because that looks like, it's very like all together and everything. I mean, the drapery it's not easy to pull off that drapery in a middle section and open like correctly every time.
And we picked an oddly thick fabric because it was the right color. And then Daniel at our Universal Drapery was like, I mean, it's pretty thick. Trying to work through the rig.
Say, Daniel, I've heard that before. I never have good luck with drapery, so
it's a thing. Right? It's funny.
I do, but I feel like when it comes to something like this, it's never seamless. Something that has to move more than once.
It's not my it's not my strength either.
It's hard. It's very hard to get the right weight of the material, and you want it to look luxurious, and you need the color, the type, and then the time and money. It's a lot to get that drapery done. So I applaud everyone involved in that.
Well, also when we were designing it and coming up with it, it's just kind of like Jen would ask me, like, what do you want it to look like? I'm like, I don't know. Just kind of did some really loose sketches. It becomes one of those, like, take it to the drapers and trust the experts. Like, tell me what I can have. What are the physics of this fabric that's going to make it work?
I don't have a close-up of it. It's great. Oh, there's a close-up
there's
of
the marquee bulbs on the top.
Yeah. Is this wood? Now that I'm looking at it, is that wood or is that?
No, we CNC'd out of Decorator, but Sintra.
Oh, yeah.
And then stacked it.
Oh, it's great.
And we kept doing it over the course of the season, adding texture, because we wanted to make sure that Adam's lights hit it just right and it exposed right behind her head. So it started off pretty stark white, and then we got a little grayer and thicker texture. So by the end of the season, it looks a little bit richer.
Right. Oh, that's great. How many chairs did you audition for the seating?
This was it.
That was it?
Yes.
You bitch.
That was an easy one. The whole set, like the overall set just was so impactful. Yeah, no one ever commented or said anything. We bought those and we postered them. And
wow.
I think we had a different set in our minds, and then we kind of figured out it was going to be too bulky and like big, and like the people would be way back like this. And so then we ended up, I mean, honestly, we found some like really cheap horribly upholstered furniture, but it was the right scale, and then we just reupholstered it.
Oh, wow. Because it's hard because the seat height has to be right with the desk, and I don't know, you kind of have a Letterman thing going where she's higher, like, it's it's I don't know. I've only done two inter interview style things like this, and it's like I'm not the type of decorator to bring in 10 chairs, but
Yeah,
for this I am.
yeah.
I needed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
mean, this
cycled
last
through a
season was a lot
bunch
more.
Yeah.
before we made the choice. Of many things were considered and taped out and talked about. But
Yeah.
And the
yeah,
desk, did you build?
Yes.
Yeah. The desk is a build. That's beautiful. Really.
especially because they had to cut it.
Yeah, that was the big thing. And we had to make the panel goes in and out depending on which side of the store
Oh,
we're on.
right, because she wanted to see my leg.
Yeah,
Exactly.
can't see Deb's legs.
Yeah, you got to see my leg. This is a big set. This is like you got to get the seating and the light because it's all on camera. It's all.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of integration with lighting,
I'm
and
gonna props to our lighting department because they did all the lights.
nice. Who is
Thank God.
who is the DP on this? I don't know.
We shot every season, yeah.
He's not part of my cousin family. I don't know. I haven't worked with him. But fabulous job. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
And sourcing. Where'd you get your seating? Is that advanced?
Universal. We actually, because they did the late night in season 3
Mm.
when it was Danny
Collins.
Collins.
Yeah.
I used the same seats so that you felt like you were kind of in the same
Same stage.
stage in
Yeah.
theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
We debated a lot about would
Yes.
she get new seats, would she not get new seats? Yeah, we went back and forth on that a lot at the beginning.
There were those I don't want to call them watermelon seats that you found at one point in
Yeah,
time.
there was some we were off on a tangent for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
A while there.
These just
But, yeah.
made sense in the end, though, I think. They
Yeah.
work, and it helps give us that nod to the how long it's been here.
Yeah. Because that's what it's out with the old and with the new. It's the same stage. Like, it's
Exactly.
and then this carpeting is fantastic also.
Yeah.
Is that a nod too, or is that a new?
It's another Vegas.
Yeah.
Good Vegas hotel carpet.
Um,
Hides all the stains.
then you do get into some behind the scenes back here, which that's a big dress. Like that's a detail.
Yeah.
Not a big dress, but it's like that's a detailed
Yeah,
dress.
it's a lot of little
Yeah.
stuff.
But we had to figure out first too, because we had the photo shoot that happens in episode 1.
Mm.
They see backstage, so we kind of had to figure out all of this backstage area and have that all dressed in and built before we started really building. The
I don't
set.
feel like did you actually see it in the edit? I felt like
No,
the whole thing could have happened anywhere.
There's a blue blur next to another blue blur.
Yeah, heads. Yeah.
It was like a rush to get the stage kind of built. And then
I think also psychologically, there's a little bit of that when you have a big set like that, where you kind of want to get some of it off your plate, so you don't have to keep it in your head. So we did the backstage.
It's nice to have a push.
Yeah.
Focus somewhere else. Yeah.
Did you have scripts or did you have outlines?
First 7.
Oh, that's nice.
First 7 when I started.
Oh,
they evolve.
Yeah, yeah, but you have
you have a framework.
Yeah, that's great. Because
kind of knew the big beats.
Yeah, and you knew.
I think that's
for me. It helped though. It's like we knew that it was coming after season 3, so it's kind of like in my head to a certain degree. It's like it's wrap 3.
Right.
Yeah. You're ruminating on it. I will say I think that I didn't ever do a lot of like classic network TV where you're getting a new script every week or whatever. But of all the things that don't feel better to me, the way we shoot and produce things now, I think that getting the scripts written ahead of time, where you at least have an idea. A lot of
yeah.
I've been lucky enough, at least, that the shows I've been on have had some of that.
Yeah, even if it's outlines. Of just 2 or 3 ahead, just to give you like, oh yeah,
we're coming back here. We're never coming back here.
Yeah,
right.
That's huge in our world.
It's
like
huge.
they're going, they're
a feature hybrid.
Because I kind of get angry. I'm like, this scene is like 1/8 of a page. This is
Right.
bullshit. Oh, we're coming back here. Like, okay, then, like,
Right.
That makes it feel like it's worth it.
yeah.
Yeah.
At shooting at Universal, how many stages do you have? 2?
We had
Two.
2.
2.
At times we had three. There's like a weird flex stage that we used for our lunches that occasionally we put a set on.
You swing.
We had 2 stages all season long. And then in stage 8, that was where we had 2 meals, but also sometimes did things in.
Where did we do
That's
the
it, right?
Oscars? That was on a different stage.
Oscars was on 8. That's what we did on 8.
Okay.
We did Oscars on 8 because at that point in time we were building a pool and
The ocean.
to be the ocean. We were
the
building
ocean.
the ocean on 11, which was fun for 2 shots. And the 6 where she goes in the water, we can't have Gene Smart bobbing in the actual Pacific Ocean. She did run in when we were on location, but we had a couple of shots that we wanted to see her face, so we had to
Do a pool.
engineer a pool on stage that could hold 4 feet of water that
And
could
be
be warm
warm.
and be warm.
Yes.
Because when we were shooting, though, we couldn't do any tanks. So we looked at the tanks at Universal. Some of them were just so exorbitantly overbuilt,
Huge.
oversized.
Yeah.
So the water to be 92 degrees. We learned, oh my God, how does the math? I think it's 40 degrees. If the temperature of the water is more than 40 degrees different than the temperature of the air is when you get steam. Like, and there's like a multiplier to how much steam there's going to be. So then we had to build it on stage so that the temperature of the air was more closely matched the temperature of the water, which involved like reaching out to anybody that's ever done a pool, anyone you know, like reaching out to people I haven't talked to in 10 years. I'm like, you did a pool one time.
Yeah.
Having an engineer sign off on it and then overbuilding the crafts.
Thank God you watched Mr. Wizard growing up, and then you could rely on those things and things you never thought you'd use, and then I'm a designer. This is what I do.
Yeah.
What do you think the biggest challenge of this season was? I mean, it had to. Were your timelines really crunched? I mean, you were you shot in Vegas, you shot here, you shot somewhere else, and I mean, there's a lot of location work in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think our early schedule got compressed because Gene hosted SNL, and so we shuffled some things around to make that happen. But that put us going from Vegas straight into Los Angeles shooting without hiatus days. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I came back from Vegas early.
Yeah.
That part was a little.
That's a crunch.
That was a crunch.
Because it's probably your
I'm
first.
trying to remember. You know, when they're over, it's hard to remember the hard stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they're little things.
Stockholm syndrome is what it is.
It was great. It was so breezy.
Yeah.
No notes.
So smooth. So smooth. No hiccups.
None.
When you're in it, you're like, what is happening? They want to do what?
Yeah, that's every day. And
Yeah,
some shows, it's like, what?
Jimmy's office was one of those that if we had known at the beginning of the season that we were going to be building the location, originally we were going to go back to the American Cement Building and install there. So we kind of were figuring out what the inside of that office was going to be. But then all of a sudden in my head, it was like less than 3 weeks. It probably was a little bit more than that. But we were told, no, you're building the building on stage, and in a stage that was smaller than you would want it to be, to have that kind of full glass windows looking out onto downtown LA.
I know. I was looking for a photo that I couldn't find a clean one, and then because I know that building. I had a friend who lived in that building. I've been there for a party, but like I was like, this is genius to make it into his office because it's such a great design and it's so LA. Really, it's really great. Yeah.
No, it was great. We lucked out that the JC Backings printed it.
Oh, nice.
I'm so sorry. They happen to have that image.
Oh, nice.
And they happen to have a slot in the schedule where we were able to print. Usually a backing can take 6, 8, 10 weeks to get printed, and they were able to fit us in pretty quickly.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Oh, see, I thought you shot the whole thing on location. That's great.
Last second we did, and all of a sudden you had to start paying attention to things where you're like, I don't have to worry about that. Now you had to figure out how to 3D model, 14 giant concrete looking X's.
Right. Get that in there. Just it shoots
Yeah,
tomorrow.
and our concept, I remember kind of like buying extra desks and pieces at the beginning that
Yeah.
would be like assistants. And then, as things evolved, then all of a sudden it was like, oh, wait, now we need a conference table. Wait, now now we
Right.
need that. So yeah, just those. I think I had randomly, like on an auction, just bid like $10 on a conference table or something. And no one wants big conference tables anymore because,
They don't have
that's
this.
just not how anyone works.
Right.
So we won it. And I was like, well, we're gonna have so many offices. We'll just put it in it'll be the production. I just figured we'd use it somewhere. And then it
Yeah.
ended up being
Oh,
great for that.
oh, that's
Shockingly.
perfect.
The offices at the beginning of the season were scary because office furniture, is office furniture.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to be like, what does Hacks and Deborah Vance, what are those offices? Like, how do you marry those things?
I mean, it's such a sin of our, and because we just had a blow of faux library going down, which had a
Yeah.
lot of character pieces for
Yes.
offices.
Yeah.
So it does, like, the impact of all of this really hurts us. Because where did that chair go that I used to,
Right.
I knew that was over there in that section, and I knew I could find it if I needed to, but like it's gone, and like they even auction things off, so you might have gotten one of the good ones. You never know. But you can't, and then it goes with the show, and then you're like, shit, I used that on Hack season 4. I wonder where that is.
Right.
Like, where
In,
is that?
in storage somewhere.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, well, I guess Universal might get it, but then you never know. They got too much stuff, and
Right.
you cycle through, and we don't know where these pieces go. Like, I didn't know where my Monica. I mean, I know that we either gave them to Warner Brothers or Uni,
Right.
but I haven't. Yeah, I don't even know if I've ever seen. I don't know if I've seen them at Uni. I don't know, but yeah, and you hold on to like feelings for pieces. Like when I like the emotion I felt when I saw those chairs was like so great. Um, how what was your favorite set, do you think?
Hmm.
This location? No.
Gosh,
I like
it's tricky.
Deb's office.
Yeah, I like Deb's office too.
And then I like the weird, I like the lawyer's office and the crab shack. We don't usually get to do
Oh wait, I had
kind
a
of
picture of that.
kitschy.
I had a picture of that crab shack. Did I not?
We have the crab shack and the lonely oyster. We did like oddly two
No.
kitschy
We did
seafood
the one
restaurants.
slippery oyster and attorney were three like
Slippery
comedy
oyster?
sets.
Lonely
Slippery
oyster?
oyster.
Lonely oyster's a real
Lonely oyster.
restaurant. Never mind.
There you go.
Isn't that what it's called? I don't know.
I had a
Yeah.
picture of that. I thought, I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe it didn't come out or something, or I found it and I was like, is that season 4? Do you know, like I look for pictures and I'm like, I gotta make sure it's season
Right.
that I'm
Sure.
talking about. Um, well, what do you think is gonna happen on this season? You're going. I mean, I don't know. The season finale, you never know. You can't really say what's gonna happen with this show. So
It does not tip anything.
no, you never
Never know.
know. That's what I think the good thing about it is like it's two characters that you're constantly evolving, but there's never a clear path of where they're gonna go. That's what's
They know where they're going to end up. As far as I know, Jen and Lucia, when they pitched the show, they know where it was going to end. They have that in mind. They've not told anybody, so I'm sure they told somebody, but
I think everyone they pitched it to knows.
right.
No, I think it was everyone they pitched it to
Accepted.
knows except HBO. When they got bought
Or
by
Universal,
HBO,
except
or Universal.
someone. Yeah. I think you're right. I've heard them say that.
They don't know. Well, that's
Yeah, she said whoever like greenlit it was like, nope, I don't need to know. I see what you've got. It's fine.
Yeah.
well, that's
For
weird.
sure.
I would always want to know. I'd want to know where my
Yeah.
shows are going.
I don't know. I can't really. I have no idea.
No idea.
I don't even know
Zero
how
insight.
that. I don't really have a firm grasp at all of how next season after the finale. Like, yeah, no clue.
But I mean, it doesn't stay stagnant. Like every
Yeah.
season has a different feeling, and especially with your sets and everything, they just evolve. They keep evolving these characters through and through. So it's so nice to be a viewer and watch that because they're not in, and it lends to her character. She's not in the same house, or like you're not in the same wing,
Right.
or you're not
Yeah.
like even if you are, she got new shit, or like it's totally plausible that she got a whole new set of furniture, or like anything you
Right.
throw
Yeah,
out
yeah.
there.
You can justify a lot. Well,
Yeah,
the Altadena house, her LA mansion, the rest in peace.
yeah,
There was a part they kept scripting. It was scripted as like Deb works at her office, and I
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
"There's no office. There's no office in that house." And it was very limited, sort of how and where we could shoot in that house.
mm,
And I kept saying, like, "Is she just on her laptop, like on the couch? Is she on
yeah,
her iPad? You know?" And it just kept saying office. And so then it was like, well, what can't we shoot that little room, off? And I was like, well, that's the room we store all the homeowners' furniture in.
right.
So let's see, so I think there was a whole big negotiation, and I kept saying it feels really small. And then eventually, I don't know if it was Bricker or someone you guys scouted, and they were like, oh, it's too small.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then it became, what if you just redress a corner of the living room
Mm,
and make it look like a different room in the office? So
Yeah.
that is what we did. I liked that set. I actually thought
It turned out nicely.
nice.
As long as they stayed in that coverage, that was fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were pretty limited.
yeah, pinky promise. Stay over
Yeah.
here. Don't turn around, please.
This is the living room.
Yeah.
I think it went back and forth on the day. I don't know. I can't
So,
remember.
like a lunch after lunch or something. It was
Are
one of
you
those crazy ones.
you talked about not having hiatus. Do you have hiatuses between like 4 episodes, 5 episodes? Do you shoot straight through?
At the beginning of the season, we have all these little pockets of hiatuses that go away.
Right. Right.
It's like,
Promises,
it's gonna be
promises.
you guys 3 days here, 2 days here to catch your breath, and it never happens.
And then you don't have or you have 2 days, but you spend them tech scouting. So
Well, yeah,
Yes.
not for us, but and because I know is now it's been so long. Is this the season that Jean was sick, or was last?
That was
That was
That was
that was
last.
3.
That was 3.
That was 3. So at least you had like this season of, not those
this
little
season went
bumps.
relatively smoothly
Yeah.
compared to 3. I mean, 3 was just sort of in.
'Cause you had the strike,
Season
right?
3
And you had
started
her.
in 2022 and ended in 2024.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
4.5 hours of television.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's crazy. That's like
It was.
that's like impeachment. It basically took us a month to do an episode. I worked on it like over. I mean, with pandemic, but like over
Right.
a
Yeah,
year,
yeah.
a year and a half. I was on that. It's crazy
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Um,
This season feels so fast too. Like we did. Janine had the count. My art director Janine had the count of 70 sets. Maybe 170 sets this season.
oh wow, great job. It is a lot. I mean, even when I was looking at your Las Vegas one, I was like, God, they're here, and then they're on the bus, and then they're on the plane, and then they're in the conference rooms, and then they're outside, and then
they're at that table.
yeah, and then you have 20 people in this scene. That must have been fun. Mm. What do you think is what do you think your like what set would you like to see Hacks have?
Man.
Oh God.
You know? Like what like she should or maybe I don't know. Like if you cuz there's I always feel like, oh,
That's a really good question.
sometimes because sometimes I feel like on Dr. Odyssey, we were like, we should
Yeah.
have a full casino. We should have a full spa. We should have a full like we should do these sets, and then nobody wrote them in there. But I mean, we turned a dining room into a casino. But like,
Do you really want to do a full casino?
well, if I can do it and it could stay there, and then they could shoot in it and give us a day rest. Yeah.
Spend a lot of time in there.
Yeah, if that becomes something you don't have to put
Think
up and
about.
take down and put up and take
Yeah.
down, then yeah, I'm all for it.
Well, I think it would be. I would think it would be kind of funny if there was like an entire wing to her Las Vegas mansion that is a completely different style of dressing.
Yeah,
that we've never seen.
right.
It's just like a totally, but it's hers. Like it's very clearly part of it.
Yeah,
It's totally different art, different finishes. I mean, just going completely out there.
yeah. I mean, she had the wrapping room, right, in one season.
For the wrapping room, yeah.
Which is a
Well, she
Tory,
had the Christmas room, she had the gift
That's
wrapping
true.
room.
but that's Candy. That's based on like Candy Spelling. I think she had a wrapping room.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, yeah. That's which is
It
fantastic.
was about half the size of Deborah's and not as fancy.
Well, there you go. I like that. Making it better.
But she did it first.
Yeah, making it better. What do you think, Jen? Do you have any? Oh,
I
you
I
can
don't
take her
know.
anywhere.
I've never even thought about it. I've like literally, aside from, I mean, I got to use the toilet and the bidet finally in Deb's
Well, there you
LA
go.
mansion
It's a win.
bathroom. So
That's a win.
dreams do come true.
Do you have, you were talked before about like color palette and everything, but do you have, you said no yellow, but did that hinder a lot? I mean, I don't think yellow isn't usually what we're going for anyway, but did you have like, we don't like these wood tones, we don't like this, like did you
I
have
think I
other
have like
restrictions?
a general instinct now at this point, being on our third season of the show, about what works and what doesn't work. Like just getting where we veer into, and just making sure, like as far as our finishes, we're luxe enough and grounded enough. Um, to make sure that they pop when they need to pop. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that there's like a really serious rule book. I know we do tend to like the smoky pinks and the lavenders and icy blues look really nice, and certain greens with Ava.
Yeah.
We like
Yeah.
to play
Like the jewel tones. You really play
Jewel
well with
tones.
like jewel tones is really nice.
Yeah. And you know, when you're decorating or designing, you have your favorite color, and you always have to make sure you're not doing too much of your favorite color, just because it's like it's comfortable.
You turn around and you're like, the whole show's blue. Yeah.
It would be green. Every production designer I know loves green.
Really?
Green is the default color for I can think of like 4 designers off the top.
Love green.
Rob's one.
Called you out, Rob.
But then I started to hear that stuff, and I go like,
I know, and you
well,
veered
nothing's green at all this
way
season.
off.
I refuse to. Yeah. So I like doing this stuff too, to little challenges to myself. Like, let's not do this thing that is so obvious, and let's just try something else.
How big is are your departments? I mean, it's obviously you guys work so well together, and I know Jill has been on as your assistant decorator.
Yeah,
for a
Jill,
long
and then
time.
I one additional buyer.
One additional.
And then the set dressing crew varies.
Yeah.
Just wildly depending on. I think it's like I don't even know if they technically say it's 4. I feel like it's 6, even if they technically.
I feel like
and then some days, it's.
I feel like it's 6 now. I feel like our base, we can't get away with 4. I don't know.
Right.
You
Yeah.
can't do 4 anymore.
Sometimes they still like pretend it's 4.
Yeah.
Even though it isn't.
Reality sets in.
Yeah.
Location
Like,
setting, schedules.
you have 1 truck. Okay, 1 truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One truck to fix.
No, we can start with 1 truck.
So
you
we're
have
in
to
4 locations.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There's
Well,
no.
that's how it was for us too. We were Janine Ringer, art director, and then I had Victoria Tamas, the assistant art director. And then at some point we added on Bronte Campbell for the second season as another assistant art director. We had 2 set designers at one point, graphic designer, 2 PAs, and a coordinator.
Nice.
And so it was good. It was a good size, but we were also. I think his biggest task was the montage at the beginning of 4. She was gaffing each one of those pieces that get cut together, and that was each one of those is a set that has to change.
Right.
Each of those sets goes through iterations. So
right.
Yeah.
I know. The one word in the English dictionary that I hate is montage.
Montage.
Is the worst word in a script for me.
It's the worst word in set dressing for sure.
Because quick pop. Quick pop, my balls. It's a full set. What do you mean quick pop?
Or series of photographs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what, too? There's never like a budget line for montage or quick pop. It's so it's like, oh, we forgot to put that line in. Well, yeah, that's a lot of money. So yeah, quick pop that money over to me. I don't know, guys. I mean, I adore the show. I know everyone who watches it like can't wait for it to come back on. And I think this season with, really giving her dream set here is just fantastic. I mean, it
was fun to be in LA. I mean, and then it was, sort of bittersweet and fortuitous that this was our love letter to LA season.
Yeah.
Because we do shoot in Altadena a lot, but yeah, that was fun.
It
I
was.
mean, season 2, we really mixed it up.
Yeah.
She was on tour as well.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean,
Injector stage.
it's hold on. Do we know if did that cemetery burn down where we all shoot? The Mount View?
No, that was
No.
that's unscathed.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
God.
that one was okay.
It's like the only cemetery in LA they'll let you dig.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. But yeah. I'm glad that didn't
Things no normal person ever
No.
thinks about.
Yeah.
No.
Nope. I know. I
Will
think things we
Will they
learn.
let us lower a casket there?
Yeah.
No? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, but cemeteries are a pain. Shooting a cemetery, 'cause you have to replace all the headstones, come up
Yeah.
with their names, get them all made and painted, and have them slide over.
Look
and
aged.
change and look right.
You know
yeah.
what's worse? Military cemetery. Military cemeteries
Yeah.
are really the worst because everything has to line up exactly.
I know. Yeah, it's so specific.
It's like the wind takes one down and you're screwed. I've done that. I don't know, guys. It's voting time. I think you're ready. I think you put your best foot forward this year. Right out the curtain. I think you guys.
4th season's a charm. Come on.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really it's it's good scripts and everything, but it's really like you bringing it to life and everything is really fantastic. And as just a fan of the show, it's just wonderful to see, where she goes and how you guys take her there. So
I think I will say of course he's the DP, so he drives me crazy because that's just inherent. But Adam Brinker, like I do love that on the show they show sets.
Yeah,
because
they do. They keep it wide.
They don't always. So much work is done by people, and occasionally we have a set where I'm like, oh, but so much work is done by people, and then it's like medium close-ups, and you don't really ever see it. And I do really appreciate how much they show the sets and how beautiful they always look.
Her world is such a character from how you guys design and decorate it that I think it's important in watching it that you're aware of this character and keeping it wide gives you a sense of her world. So yeah, it is great that they do that.
Yeah, which Jen, Paul, and Lucina, I think are very aware of, which is why we're always like creating a new room in the mansion, creating a new, space she has things in, is to show that sort of ever expanding world.
Awesome.
It's such a fun collaboration with them too, because they know her inside and out. They know their show. They're such devoted showrunners. And I always like to say they give notes, but every note makes it better. There's very few notes that are just like those showrunner-y notes that are like, well, I'm the showrunner, I have to change it. They're all authentic to the collaborative purpose. Like sometimes when you're really annoyed and you get the one note and you're like, it's better. No, it's better.
And you're like,
I'm just tired.
It's just like, why didn't I think of that? It's a much better idea.
It is better. All right. I still fight for my decision, but all right. It is great too. Thank you for listening to this episode. I love talking to Jennifer and Rob. I mean, Jen, I think this is her 3rd time on the podcast. Jen, I might have to get like a 5 Timers Club going on and she can build up to that. Maybe that's how I roll. But I really like the show. I'm a fan of the show. So seeing this transition over the seasons and getting to do fun, rich people sets is always fun. So I know that they're having a good time on the show and I think it shows. And I just loved hearing how much influence and details Rob put into the design of that late night set, because I'm a huge late night fan, and doing anything vintage like that and bringing stuff back I think is great. So yeah, great job, guys. So let's make sure you are subscribed to this podcast if you want to hear any other of the Emmy FYCs that I have done in the past couple weeks, and still coming at you. I mean, I've got Dexter, Matlock, I hope, The Studio. I still haven't done that one yet. But Severance is next week. Yellow Jackets, and Andor was last week. Oh my goodness, did everybody love Andor and Yellow Jackets? Yummy. American Primeval, Bondsman. Way back, I've got the Penguin, and I mean, of course, Dr. Odyssey. Hello. And Man on the Inside. So that's, and if you want to hear that before you cast your votes, Emmy voting starts in mid-June, and SDSA, I believe, is May 30th, I think that's next week. So yeah, you're all covered. Subscribe to iTunes or Spotify. Rate the show, please. Leave a review, please, please, please. And don't forget to check out the Decorating Pages YouTube channel for the full interviews and exclusive videos you won't get anywhere else. I promise. It's exclusive. So just search Decorating Pages Podcast on YouTube and hit subscribe. So I hope you got an earful. I'm Kim Wannop for Decorating Pages.